I don't know why I'm doing this. I don't know why I'm choosing to continue this conversation when, by all means, it should have ended in 2021 after Mr. Enter made his video on the matter. Maybe I'm just looking for closure that I'm never going to get, because every time my wounds start to scab over, Rebecca likes to run over and open them right back up again for content. Chances are StarGiant is never going to see this video, but in case she does, I'll try and word myself carefully. So, let's provide some context.
Let me be blunt. If you block someone for no reason, you are doing something bad.
Dear God, this is going to take some willpower. So for those who are new here, welcome to the shit show. I'm Mint Kitten, and I sorta work with Mr. Enter. Well, work is a loose term. I'm really more of a friend than anything, and I help moderate his Discord servers. I also provided the beta design for Al. I was one of the testimonies in his regarding StarGiantProductions video. At the time I went by Hope, I now go by Wes. And not too long ago, StarGiantProductions made a video addressing the abuse she went through on the Mr. Enter team. There are plenty of commentary channels that could tell you how awful this video is, and I'm sure they have, but I mainly just want to take this moment to defend myself. To be quite honest, I wasn't even planning on addressing this because barely anyone even knows I'm working for Enter. I don't talk about it on social media, unless you count 2 videos I made about him, one on TikTok and the other on YouTube. And any times I've been mentioned in actual Mr. Enter videos have been just that, mentions. Well, aside from regarding StarGiant, I had a voice role in that one. Right before Rebecca was banned, she had confronted me about why I blocked her in front of the entire Growing Around team. But surprisingly, I was pointed in the direction of someone who actually dedicated an entire video to defending me that made me realize, yeah, what I went through was kind of fucked up. So here we are, regarding StarGiant Part 2, Electric Boogaloo. No, I will not do a third one. If anyone else on the team wants to do a third one, they are free to do so, but I won't. So let's break this down.
After John's video went up on me, I decided to pay Hope over $100 for damages.
Right, you did. And I didn't mention it because where the fuck am I meant to mention it? I don't have any social media aside from my YouTube and TikTok and maybe my Tumblr. And even if I do post about it there, what's the point? No one knows me. Did you want me to thank you publicly? Because I can do that right now. Thank you for paying for your April Fool's K&D thumbnail commission 8 months late. It's so funny how a woman that throws the word abuse around like it's confetti doesn't understand a damn thing about it.
With all this talk that Hope was doing on suicide, someone else could view this as attention-seeking.
We'll get to this later. It's just so fucking stupid. But yes, for those who are wondering, Rebecca did pay me back. Eventually. I didn't mention it because my following is non-existent. If I made a video or a comment or something saying, hey, Rebecca paid me $100, so everything's cool now, you would never hear it.
Also, Hope blocked me, but never explained why.
I did explain why. I was very open about why I blocked Rebecca. I've talked about it on multiple occasions on the Discord server she was in, and in the videos that she had to have watched to make her response video.
Let me be blunt. If you block someone for no reason, you are doing something bad.
Oh, right. You don't view my reason as legitimate, so you lie through your teeth and say that I never talked about why I blocked you. Completely fair and cool of you. For those who are wondering, my reasoning at the time for why I blocked Rebecca was that she simply annoyed me, and I hold true to my statement that I can block anyone for any reason. That is what the block button is for. However, looking back, I'm surprised that is what I blocked her for. I didn't mention this in my original testimony, so allow me to do so here. On November 23rd, 2019, Rebecca asked me to draw something for her. She showed me an example from Hot Diggity Demon's series Brain Dump, where, in her own words, you'll see the Powerpuff Girls beat up their evil, predator-loving knockoffs. She wanted me to do something similar to that, but with Steven from Steven Universe, Akko from Little Witch Academia, Starlight Glimmer from MLP, Diana or Rose Quartz, and her OC beating the shit out of Lily Orchard. And I completely forgot about this by the time I was making my testimony for the regarding StarGiant video, but she did offer to pay me for this. And since I didn't have a PayPal at the time, she offered to pay me in DeviantArt points. And she wasn't even able to do that in the end, even though I did finish all 6 drawings she asked of me. Despite the fact that I did all of that for her, as far as I'm aware, she didn't use any of them. And before anyone does or says anything, don't pester her about payment. Dealing with Rebecca isn't worth any amount of money or DeviantArt points or whatever she could throw at me.
Let me be clear. I did not intentionally tell Hope at any point in time that she was attempting suicide for social brownie points.
So, we're at this part of the video. This is the big, infamous statement that should probably be elaborated on even further. I have information that isn't easily accessible by the public to shine an even brighter light on this shit. Let's try and pick this apart. What exactly did you do to help me? Because I don't remember you doing anything of the sort, not that I would have asked you for help anyway. You came to me and brought this stuff all up out of nowhere. You were the one that brought up my suicidal thoughts. I have never came to you with help for my suicidal thoughts because I don't trust you enough to be able to help me. I have posted about my suicidal thoughts in the private Mr. Enter server, but if you really believe that I do that for your attention specifically, then you have a brand of narcissism that I don't think has even been discovered yet. There were several people in that server I trusted a lot more than you and were better at dealing with these thoughts than you could ever hope to be.
What if, in this situation, I was having a hard time?
She brought it up to me, completely randomly.
My issue is that I was afraid.
Actually, taking all this in context with the rest of the screenshot does paint a completely new picture of the situation. You talk a lot about how scared you were and how much of a hard time you were going through during that moment. How you were so scared that your friend was going to kill himself when I didn't mention my suicidal thoughts at all that day. And yet, you were the one that started that conversation. Now, I'm not saying you were trying to bring up my vulnerabilities and trivialize them when the conversation had nothing to do with that, but I am saying you should consider yourself lucky I originally showed a portion of the conversation from that day.
But go ahead, Hope. Get mad at me here. Then accept my apology and we move on from it. And then hate me for this out of nowhere for 9 months later.
Wow. It's almost like I explicitly told you that I have problems moving on from things in the same screenshot that shows you invalidating my suicidal thoughts. Like, I didn't decide to forgive you and then randomly unforgive you 9 months later. I never forgave you because it became clear to me that you were still the same person 9 months later.
The screenshot doesn't show any timestamps, and that Discord account of mine has been deleted due to harassment, so...
Oh, I hope you feel so silly now. Yes, the messages were mere minutes apart from each other, but your accusation of me being too suicidal is also mere minutes apart from the original conversation where you brought up that I was shit-talking you in public. Again, literally no reason this should have been brought up. I don't want to assume the worst of you. I don't believe you're malicious, just so ungodly stupid. However, I have a hard time believing that stupidity alone can explain this. I don't know why I'm bothering to provide timestamps though, when you quite literally state that they are irrelevant.
So we will never know the truth about the time. Not that it matters.
If the timestamps don't matter, why bring them up at all?
Let me guess. If I were saying that I was going to commit suicide, you would laugh at me.
Well, I don't know what I'd do if you ever came out and said you wanted to kill yourself, but I know I wouldn't accuse you of trying to manipulate everyone. I have other evidence to use against you if I ever feel like telling people you're a manipulator. But you having suicidal thoughts? Yeah, that wouldn't be one of those things.
Once again, here is the Google Doc / screenshot explain my side and defense.
In the video, she scrolled through the doc in like half a second and didn't give enough time to read through it. So here's what the Google Doc actually said. I don't think this was done maliciously either. I genuinely believe this is a side effect of her terrible editing skills. Regarding her point that I accepted her apology though, I don't remember that at all. Rebecca posted her long-ass apology. Her and Mr. Enter talked about it. I apologized to her, and then she changed the conversation. She seems to love doing that. If you want to bring timestamps into the equation here, Rebecca finished her rant at 1:43 a.m., and I didn't say a word until 1:55 a.m. That is almost 10 minutes of me staying silent because I did not want to talk to Rebecca. I didn't want to have that conversation at all. She pissed me off, and I don't like talking to people who piss me off. If Rebecca doesn't like that about me, she could have simply blocked me, and we could have both carried on with our lives as if nothing happened. Wait, that sounds familiar.
In fact, it wasn't until Sarah returned where she had a problem with me.
Love that you brought up Sarah. Let's talk about that, actually. So Sarah didn't tell me anything about Rebecca because, at the time, I wasn't on speaking terms with him either. I blocked him at the time, too. Now, I don't know if Rebecca was the first person I ever blocked on Discord, but she sure as hell wasn't my last. Now, for those who are curious, me and Sarah are fine now, but he's on thin ice.
But Hope was crying in the Regard StarGiantProductions video!
No, I wasn't. Who's saying that I was crying in that video? Was it because my voice cracked? I don't know what that was, but I can tell you it wasn't crying.
You do know that people fake cry all the time in courts to have audiences sympathize with their side to get what they want in the very end. With this statement, you probably already assumed that you think that I was implying that Hope was fake crying. But if you look through my actual words, I didn't state that once. Your brains just imply that I did when that never happened.
This should be solid proof more than literally anything I say that Rebecca doesn't understand social cues on any level. Anyone would clearly understand that the statement Rebecca just said heavily implied that I was not just crying, but fake crying for sympathy. And a statement like that might work in court, but out here in the real world, every single person knows exactly what that statement meant, except maybe Rebecca. I didn't even want to get into this because I have watched this bit and even read the script of this bit like 10 times, and I still cannot understand what the fuck she's trying to say here. Ignoring the fact that I wasn't crying, if you're not trying to imply that I was fake crying to get people to sympathize with me, then why the fuck would you bring it up at all?
Also, after this discussion in September 2020, Hope never had any suicidal thoughts.
Just because I didn't tell the person who thought I was being too suicidal what was going through my head doesn't mean that I didn't have any suicidal thoughts. To this day, I am still dealing with that same depression, and let me say, none of this has been any help with that.
But when you help with someone trying to prevent them from committing suicide 20 times, it gets tiring.
You say, as if you ever actually helped me through my suicidal thoughts, ever. Every time I vented that I was thinking of killing myself in the private server, you'd use it as an opportunity to vent about whatever bullshit you're going through immediately after, which, like, okay, fine, I'm not gonna revoke your right to vent, but Jesus Christ, you couldn't wait a minute? You have venting channels in your server, right? Can't you use those?
Especially when they don't go to therapy. Yes, in-person still existed during the pandemic.
Not in Ohio, apparently, because I was in therapy. Teletherapy. In fact, I'm still in teletherapy, and it sucks ass. Even taking that into consideration, there's only so much therapy can do in regards to mental health. I was, and still am, in a very harsh and toxic home environment.
So either Hope lied in September 2020, or she lied in June 2021. Because that accusation is what got me fired.
Ignoring the fact that the accusation isn't what got you fired, sure, I lied in September 2020 when I said that I accepted her apology, even though I didn't say jack shit because I did not accept her apology, nor did I forgive her for what she did.
Hope, by the way, told me 24 hours after we settled things that she talked to a suicide hotline.
I have never talked to a suicide hotline in my entire life. To be frank, I probably should have. But where the fuck did she even get this misinformation from?
I mean, this one time me outbursting saying this shit by accident makes me a terrible person.
Right, sure. Whatever helps your argument, I guess. This was just one of the many, many incidents that Rebecca was eventually fired for. It wasn't just a single one-time outburst. And in the end, it wasn't just my decision. Everyone on the server was done with Rebecca when she was finally fired. You want to be mad that I blocked you? Then fine. Die mad about it. But you cannot get mad at me because everyone else looked at how you treated me and said, yeah, it's not in our best interest to keep Rebecca around. You brought that entirely upon yourself. What I did was an act of self-care. Now, this is a little something I pulled from a script that didn't make it into the video, but the script itself was posted in the description of the video for everyone to see. Gee, can't imagine why it didn't make it into the final product. I think this statement really speaks for itself on every level, but I would like to say one thing. Rebecca, you are disabled. You have admitted to being autistic in the past. A lot of people who are disabled have needed to use Social Security and other similar systems just to survive. Why are you attacking your own team? Get your shit together and delete this from your fucking script. I remember specifically being pinged and requested to do this. Take that with a grain of salt, though. One of the only screenshots I have is of her demanding her editors to get their videos done by midnight of that day. I didn't take any other screenshots because I was desperate to leave all that behind me. You know what? Fine. That's fair. Before this whole lack of payment shit, I've only ever done one proper commission for someone, so I was still learning what is or isn't fair to ask of someone for my artwork. My issues at the time were not that I wasn't getting paid, though. It was how much I had to do in so little time on top of not getting paid. If she asked me to do nothing but thumbnails for her for the rest of the time we worked together, then stupid, naive little me wouldn't even bother to ask for payment. I got used to being taken advantage of. The problem is that you simply asked for something that I couldn't deliver, and considering the fact that I wasn't even gaining anything from the stress that was being put on me, I didn't see the point in dealing with you anymore. Though I guess I should be thankful for that. You were the one that finally made me see why it's so important to pay your fucking artists. That's all the relevant shit she has to say about me, but we're not done here. Let's talk about Coda.
For the record, I know I talked about Coda before, and I actually do have PTSD on diapers for personal reasons, so it's not an attack on Coda.
Coda is someone very close to me, and I don't want to talk too much about this because I feel it's best for his defense to come from his mouth, but if I could say one thing in his defense, why are you kink-shaming him when you are the most open person in the world about your own fetishes?
I am not trying to kink shame. Whatever Coda does in his free time is not my business.
So you're trying to make it everyone else's business then? Do you understand what a digital footprint is? Actually, that's not the right question I should be asking. Do you even understand what reality is? I can't believe I'm saying this unironically, but touch grass, please.
Alright, so It's time for me to go out of my way on my day off to talk about some bullshit that wasn't really supposed to be my business, but ended up becoming my business for a fucking stupid reason. If it wasn't for the fact I was already editing this video, I probably wouldn't have even cared to go out of my way to record this shit. I don't even really have that much to say because I really had almost nothing to do with any of this drama beyond the fact that I did talk some shit where it wasn't really my place to, which we'll get to that. Most of this testimony, if you really want to call it that, is mostly just going to be me addressing Rebecca directly because there was some shit that I wanted to say to her that I never really got the chance to because she ended up blocking both of my Twitters like months after this entire thing initially started to go down. So that was cool. Just gonna go ahead and get a couple things out the way. One, yes, I did see the Be Better video, and yes, I do forgive you for bringing up what you did. I will say I thought it was kind of funny that you criticized how public that I decided to make it when one of the main talking points I see against you is for the exact same thing, only to a much more forward degree. As in, you literally have your fetish as a part of your main channel name, which is kind of interesting, but I won't get into that because honestly, I don't fucking care. Ignoring the fact that I do have two separate accounts, one for not my shit, there is a reason why I've made it as public as it is, and it's because it's kind of a part of my income. And for that, it would be kind of in my best interest to make it as public as possible, at least to the people who are into the niche that I'm offering. There was a point in my life where I was really trying to separate the two, my kink account and like my main account, trying to get the whole video editing thing off the ground when I thought that was still the only thing that I really had going for me. At this point, though, I kind of decided that me and video editing are just not really gonna go anywhere with it, so the only reason I'm editing this video is because I care very much about Wes and I want to help him get his feelings sorted so that we can move on with our lives and try to figure out what we're doing. And getting past all this high school drama bullshit that really should have ended fucking months ago, but you decided to dredge up again anyway because you can't move on from shit either. Like, at the end of the day, that's really what I want out of this situation. I just want you to leave us out of this shit. Like, you want to make 4 or 5 more videos about John going on about how editing for him has fucked up your entire life, and if Lily Orchard is anything to go by, I have reason to believe you probably will do that. Like, I'm not your dad. You go right ahead and you enjoy that. You make all the money that you can off of that and enjoy it, okay? Wes, though, he doesn't need this shit. I don't need this shit. We don't need to deal with this shit. And honestly, beyond the shit that you've pulled with other people around me, my friends, and the people that I care about, I never even really had any problems with you. Like, my whole thing with you was just secondhand hearing my friends talking about the shit that you've pulled with them. And yeah, of the shit that I've seen, I still think what you said and did and everything was shitty, but I had no beef with you personally. I never really got to talking with you. I was never really in your inner circles. And yeah, it wasn't really my place to say or talk about some of the shit that I did with some of the other people who were dealing with you. And yes, I do regret that and I apologize for it. Like, at this point, the only thing that I want is to just not have to deal with the emotional bullshit that came from any of this, because I already have to see Wesley dealing with a lot of other bullshit that isn't this, and every time I see it, it makes me want to vomit. We don't need this, at this point, like, year-old drama added on to it. You got more shit you want to say to me specifically, DM me on Twitter, either one of them. We can have our own conversation about it. We can get over whatever it is that you have against me and my bullshit, whatever it may have that you got with me. I'm not gonna play messenger and start talking shit with the other people that are involved because that's not me. If anyone else involved decides to open up that avenue of conversation, that's on them. I'm not going to force their hand into it. Really, though, if you truly mean what you say and that you want to be a better person and you want to put all this shit behind you, let it go. You don't have to forgive anyone if you really don't want to, but just let it go. Make some new friends, move on with your life. Don't keep making these hour, 2 hour, 3 hour long videos going on about personal shit that really should have never been brought to YouTube in the first place, or anywhere in the public eye ever. Like, you say you're not gonna be quiet about shit anymore, but you could have avoided a lot of the shit you got by just not bringing up the John thing at all and just letting what happened happen. Whether you forgive anyone or anyone forgives you is whatever. I just want you to stop going after people. Alright, can you do that at least?
Aside from that, there really is not much to talk about here. There's no way in hell I'm watching 3 full hours of a woman I don't even like shit-talking my friends. So if you're interested in what she has to say, knock yourselves out. Like I said in the beginning, I don't know what I want from all this. I know for a fact that she's not going to leave it alone, and I know that responding is only going to make it worse, but maybe there's one thing I want from this whole ordeal. One simple request that I want to get out there. If anyone could fulfill this one wish of mine. Could someone please tell Rebecca that I'm trans and my name is Wes now? Like, I don't mind people using my birth name if they have to, but Jesus fucking Christ, it sounds like a slur when it comes out of her mouth.